Hello everyone, welcome again to the channel. Today I want to talk to you about this particular phenomena that in Gnosis we call the inner talk. Is in the context of how to have better results in life, and this is very important topic, so let's get started with this. So the question it is, who's there? We have this inner dialogue, this self-talk. We're talking to ourselves constantly, but most of the time we don't pay attention to this inner dialogue, and this is really very important. Remember that in the Gnosis we want to have solutions to every problem that we face in life, and we started the series with relationships with women, but this can be applied with every situation in life, really. The same situation we face when we have difficulties talking to women, we face when we are talking to colleagues, where we are in jobs, in school, in every area of our life, we find the same difficulties, but in a different context. So the main thing is to pay attention to what is things that we are going to find inside ourselves. So what we want to do is to discover some patterns. In these patterns we can call in different ways. For example, they are called the psychological song. It's kind of a dominant topic in our life. You can call it psychological song, psychological theme. Is something that you are always talking about, and this is very easy to discover when we find relationships with our friends. For example, we always have a particular friend or someone who we know, an acquaintance that is always talking or complaining about a particular topic. In every occasion we see him or see her, she's always talking about the same thing. Either it is always the bad boss, or the negative ex boyfriend, or the negative employee, negative customer, whatever the case is, negative teacher, student. Every context, you always see the person always talking about the same thing. And interestingly, this tends to happen more and more as we age. And this is not really about time, it's not about biology, it's more about the fact that as we spend more time in each life, we tend to become more somehow hardened into a particular behavior, into a particular routine. So that's why we tend to be more flexible when we are young. But then as we age, as time goes by, as we continue to do the same things over and over, that's why we have this recurrent topic. So we see every time the same behavior, and we create some kind of looking glass that we're always looking at things in the same negative manner. Of course, I'm talking about negative behaviors because those are the weaknesses that we want to change, and is something that we really need to get away from. So we need to see what caused all these things, and sometimes we just don't pay attention to what is being said inside of our head, inside of our psychological world. And it is very important to see, for example, that sometimes we talk to ourselves in the same way in which our mentors talked to us as we were growing up. For example, if our father was always talking to us and saying, "Oh, you're stupid," every time we made a mistake, as we grow old and become independent men and have our own house, our own job, our own everything, we continue to talk to ourselves in the same way. We will find every time we make a mistake, we talk to ourselves and we continue the same dialogue. We tell ourselves, "Oh, you're stupid," every time we make a mistake. We use exactly the same words that our parent or whoever was in charge of our education as we were children, the same way we were being taught. That's we are repeating this. So what is this inside our psychology? Some kind of program. It's like a computer program, and this program is actually doing the exact same thing. So we never really escape the torture of psychological criticism. We got rid of the parent, we went out of the house, but we continue to torture ourselves without need to have the parent physically there, you know. That parent that was difficult to please becomes a reality inside our head, inside our psychology. So we really never escape this situation. We continue to reproduce it inside ourselves, and this becomes really something like a program like a virus that is running inside our system and is constantly torturing us. So that's why we see all this negativity inside ourselves. This is, of course, a result of some bad memories or traumas, whatever you want to call it. But the result is that we end up having this behavior that is doing some kind of self-sabotage. So we are unable to have our own victories, our own success, because we continue to say, "Oh, you are not good for anything, you cannot do this, it's impossible, you will never amount to anything, what makes you think you're so special?" This kind of psychological talk that some people have, it is going to cause self-doubt and self-defeat, and you will be sometimes paralyzed by this kind of behavior, and this will cause you to fail. So this will become some kind of negative reinforcement, and it's like a vicious cycle. So because you don't feel confident, you don't have success, and then you feel somehow confirmation that you see, okay, I really can't succeed. So you start to believe your own program. You start to believe your own, let's say, self-sabotaging or self-doubting behavior. You start over time to see, oh, really is true that I cannot have success. It's true that I'm not good for anything. It's true that I'm stupid. It's true. Whatever it is your talk, you continue to reinforce it with your behavior and with your results. And you never break the cycle, and this becomes stronger and stronger as the more times you do this. And this will all cause lead to depression, and in the end, actually, what we're doing is some kind of affirmation. What is called the affirmation is something that you constantly repeat, but it is constantly in a negative way. So if you're constantly repeating to yourself negative things, you will tend to actually get the results that you're expecting. And because you expect to fail, you will fail. So this is exactly what is going on inside our head. And the main thing is that sometimes we don't pay attention to all the talk that is going on inside our head. We just see the results in our life, but we don't do a lot of analysis about this. And that's why in the Gnosis we want to provide a solution for this, rather than just giving tips about okay, how do you meet more girls, or how do you improve your relationships with your boss, or how do you have, I don't know, better relationship with your parents, with your friends, with your brothers, sisters. Rather than giving tips, we're going to give solutions. So these solutions will provide you with the tools that you can actually use to improve your life in every area. So this is absolutely the best, in my opinion, rather than giving tips or trips or whatever you need to, whatever you think you need, because you really, the main problem with that I see with the tips and tricks is that they really don't change anything. Fundamentally, you're the same person. I have read a lot about psychology in different areas. For example, advice that people give about psychology in the area of relationships with women. I have read a lot about that. I had watched many videos, took many courses on that, and I see every time the same complaint from people that they feel inadequate, they feel somehow inferior or incapable of doing certain things. And every time the advice is some kind of trick, some kind of tip, or do this, do that, and practice this, practice that. And yes, of course, some of these tips and tricks are actually good. I cannot say that they don't work, but they don't change fundamentally who you are. So the best that you can achieve with this kind of advice is to develop some kind of habits, but habits really don't change who you fundamentally are. So if you feel inadequate with women, but you learn some tricks on how to talk to women, and over time you become habituated on how to do it, but you will still feel uh, unease, you will still feel uncomfortable, even if you have all the best tricks, all the best tips, and even if you have all the best habits, still inside you will still feel miserable. Even if you have success with women or success in relationships, you're a salesperson and you continue to have a huge success in sales, but you still feel miserable every time you have a success, and you still have the same person inside of you telling you you cannot do it, you cannot do it. So what I want to say is that all this advice is valuable. It somehow can help people, but it will not provide a long-lasting solution. So that's why in the Gnosis we want to give this particular method on how to get rid of all these negative things that you have inside of you. And the main thing is to do these two practices. The first is called self-awareness. So the main thing is to become present in the moment. So it's some kind of attitude, but what this does is, even in some very small way, it will wake up your consciousness. It will awake your consciousness so you actually take control of your current moment and actually pay attention to what you're doing. Observe your surroundings, stop being just some kind of character in a game, and just take consciousness and stop running like a robot and do something around about your life. So this self-awareness practice is very powerful, and you can have a lot of very good results just stemming from this. And the main thing is that first, the attitude, you become present, and then you start asking questions, observing your surroundings, like really pay attention where you are, and ask yourself some questions. Where am I? Why am I doing here? What is the purpose of this? Am I supposed to be here? What is happening? Just try to ask yourself questions, and you will develop this sense of reality. Sometimes, if you can do this while you're making some kind of mistake, you will be able to recover from this mistake and actually improve the results you have in life just by doing the practice of self-awareness. But remember that self-awareness is only helping us to have the ability to pay attention to other areas that we want to be able to analyze later. So this is also part of something that is called reality check. So you are supposed to ask yourself, am I dreaming? And this is a very, very deep question because when we have actually in our life, in the human existence, we have different layers of reality. For example, we have the what we call the time when we're awake. No, we woke up from sleeping, and then we start doing the things that you do during your day, until you go again to sleep in the night. So all this waking time, all these waking hours, is like one level of reality. It's like, let's say, level 0, if you want to call it like that. And after that, you have the dreaming world. So you go to bed and then you fall asleep and then you start dreaming. But a lot of people have such low level of consciousness of during their daytime that when they go to sleep, they just kind of, it will be like dying for them. They are not aware of what they were dreaming. They have no recollection of what they were dreaming the next day after they wake up, and they just go on with their lives like this. So the dreaming world is some kind of reality level number 1, if you want to call it, just to give it a name. And when we die, it's reality level number 2. So we are also unaware of what happens after we die. We don't remember what happened between this life and the previous life. So we don't remember what happened when we were not having a body. So these levels of reality, when we have unconsciousness during their daytime, they will replicate themselves in the dreaming world, and when we are dying or when we are dead, we will also be unconscious. So if during your daytime you go through the motions in autopilot and you actually don't pay attention to anything in autopilot, you go to work, you go to the school, you go to everywhere you are during your late, you are going everything through autopilot without having to pay attention to anything. This will replicate in all levels of reality. So if you wake up during your daytime, this will also replicate itself to your dreaming time. So if you continue to do this practice, what will happen is that naturally, in a very easy way, you will start to see and become aware of your dreams. I mean, it is very amazing to me to find out that some people think that there isn't such a thing as dream. I never dreamed in all my life. I heard people telling me, I never dream. I have no idea what dreams are. I don't remember my dreams, and if they remember a dream, is probably a nightmare. You know. So if we continue to do the self-awareness practice, we'll become aware of our dreams, and when the time comes to die, we will also become aware of that we're dead. You know, so that's why even this reality check that is called "Am I dreaming?" we will be able to change the way we see the world and stop just running on autopilot. Okay, so the first step is to become aware of ourselves, do the self-awareness practice, become present in the moment. After we have this state of consciousness, we can do actually the self-observation. And the self-observation is, let's say, the research that we need. This is our homework during the day. All day long, we need to pay attention to this. And it will become like so interesting. It will never be boring. This is an amazing, actually, psychological exercise. So we need to pay attention to every thought, every emotion, every feeling that we are having, and we can see everything that happens. For example, in which circumstances I'm having certain thoughts, in which circumstances I'm having particular emotions, in which circumstances I having certain feelings, which words we use to talk to ourselves. Sometimes you will discover amazed or sometimes in horror that you're using exactly the same words to talk to yourself that your parents were using to talk to you. And you will discover exactly you're using exactly the same phrases about exactly the same thing, and this becomes a very good exercise. But what we want to see is also the triggers. Triggers are particular circumstances which will bring about a specific behavior. So if you have every time you see, to give an example, every time you see the teacher, you start to think, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this. I will not remember. I will know the answer to the questions of the teacher. Or when you have, every time you have, let's say, an exam or a test, this will be a circumstance. The time that you're having a test is the circumstance, but this will trigger a specific behavior, a specific thoughts, and sometimes even specific body positions, specific sensations. So we need to pay attention to all these. And body positions are very, very telling. We just rarely pay attention to them, but actually there is a specific feeling associated with every body position. So it is very, very important that we pay attention to how our body is in every circumstance, because there is a psychological, let's say, background to every body position. And sometimes, interestingly, like we said in the previous episode where we were talking about how to increase testosterone, there was this section where I was talking about power positions. So if you change your position, sometimes you can change your psychology. However, this is not a solution, it's mostly like a trick. So if you're feeling sad and you change your position, you will stop feeling sad, but you didn't fix the problem. Just want to make this clear. It's a good trick. It will help you in life, but it will not change your life. This alone is only a trick. It's a good trick. Just pay attention to that. If you need it, you can do it. It's not. There's nothing wrong with doing some tricks. If it will help you in life. So you need to pay attention to the cycle of actions and reactions. So whenever you do, people will have a reaction to your words, to your specific actions, and vice versa. When someone says something to you, where someone does something to you, or when they actually do something in front of you, you become moody, you become angry, and then you start like a chain of thoughts inside of you. So you start talking to yourself about certain things. And this can be something that the most random things. If you're running in the bus and you're sitting in the bus and then you see a person doing something annoying, like they start talking very loudly on the phone, for example, it's just an example of what can happen in the world. You're just riding in the bus, and when someone starts, playing music in their phone, and they don't care about everyone else that is also in the bus, and then you start thinking, oh, what is this person doing? He's very annoying. I don't like it. And then you have emotions about it. You become also annoyed, and then you become angry, and then you say, oh, I'm going to talk to the bus driver because this is not possible. He's disconsiderate, and he's also fat and ugly. I don't understand how people are like this. So this is only like a trigger. So sometimes we don't pay attention to all these things that happen during our lives, and we just go through the motions like a robot. We don't really pay attention to them, and we're not even sometimes aware of it. We're just doing it automatically. We're not aware of what is our mood in every particular situation, why we do certain things, why we don't do certain things. For example, why, despite the fact that I want to lose weight, I can't contain myself from eating unhealthy food. Why, even though I know that I need to exercise, I never get in myself in the mood to go to the gym. Or I even buy the membership, the gym membership, but I never go. Or if I go, I don't find the motivation to do it. So I need all kinds of circumstances. Maybe I need to go with a friend to help me. Maybe I need to have some substances. Maybe I need to take some pre-workout because, or I need to listen to music very loud and very to put me in the mood. If I don't listen to music and the batteries run out in my phone and I cannot listen to music, I don't feel in the mood to do exercise. There's all kinds of situations in life in which we just think, oh, it's really not out of my control. That's the way I am. It's like I cannot do anything about it. And the reality is that first of all, we never pay attention to them. So we just run through the motions like in auto mode, or automatically we don't pay attention to this. But this is what will give us the most benefit. Paying attention to this, and why we need to pay attention to this is going to be like a treasure hunt. We need to have the information about our own psychology, and once we have the information about our own psychology, we're going to use it for the solution. This is the solution part. It's all like a process. So every day we do this. Every day we try to do self-awareness, become self-aware, and do the practice of self-observation, pay attention to everything. And then when it comes the end of the day, we're going to do a retrospection. So retrospection is going through what happened during the day. So we're going to do some kind of inventory. And this is, you just find yourself in a comfortable position where you will not be distracted, maybe after you go to bed, or if you want to sit in a comfortable position, whatever works for you, and just do some experimentation and try to see what works best. So you will start to go over the events of the day, try to remember what happened, and then try to find, let's say, the three most damaging events of the day, the three most intense events of the day. And how are you going to decide? It is you who are you going to decide it. So it is up to you, whatever really caused you the most damage, what makes you the most uncomfortable, what makes you the most pain, emotional pain, or any kind of discomfort that you feel. So you will try to find three events, three specific scenes that you are going to work with. So you will go from morning to the night, and then you will decide, okay, are the three specific scenes that caused me the most damage, and you are going to try to find some specific scene, specific emotion. So it's going to be the smallest interaction that you can find. The smallest, I mean, it needs to be as specific as possible, and it needs to be defined as an action-reaction chain. If you have to define it in a very, very complex way and you need to do a lot of explanations, it is not specific enough. You need to break it down even smaller. So it will be something that will be able to be defined as an action reaction. I did this and I felt this way. Or he or she said this, did that, or didn't do that, and I made this action, reaction, or I felt in this way, I started to think about this in this way. So let's say, for example, the case where we are talking about the person who is in the bus and who is talking very loudly in the bus. So you say, okay, because he was talking very loudly in the bus, I felt annoyed. I felt angry. I felt uncomfortable. I didn't like it. So all these are a series of action reactions. So you need to pick one. Okay, so which was the most intense? Okay, I felt really annoyed. Okay, so what was the action? The action was he was speaking very loudly in the phone, and that caused me to be very, very annoyed. So that is the most specific things that you can do. And then you try to pay attention to exactly how this was causing you discomfort. So you need to pay attention to what was the consequence, what was the feeling, or if there was any pain, psychological pain, mental pain. In very specific cases, sometimes there is even a physical pain to certain emotions, so pay attention to those too. Sometimes actually behind physical pain there is an emotion, because we become so used to being in pain that some people don't understand that actually pain is not normal. Pain is actually the most abnormal thing that you can find in life. But some people, they just go, and again, as people grow older, some people think that as you become 30, you will feel pain all your life. In every case, some people think it's not possible to live without pain, and some people tend to think it is normal. So actually, every time you feel a pain, this is actually a psychological consequence of something. This is completely proven, and there are all kinds of ways in which you can use the retrospection. For example, even though this practice is done for psychological purposes, if you have a pain in your body and you want to get rid of the pain in your body, you can use it too. So this can be used. I have a pain in my neck after the end of the day, or every time I get home, I have a specific pain in my back. Whatever you're feeling pain in your body, there is a psychological reason for that. So you can also use that. If you want to work in physical pain, it will also produce psychological results. So you can do it either way you want to do it. And this is really very powerful. So try to find, the smallest action reaction chain that you can define during your day, and then you will self-assess the severity of the pain, whether it's psychological pain, mental pain, or whatever negative consequence was. You will do this self-assessment. And why we need to do this self-assessment? Because we need to have some measure of progress. So and nobody is going to judge us. We will ourselves decide, okay, this is really, really annoying. When I was in the bus, he made me very angry to hear that he was speaking so loudly in the phone. So for me, it was really a 9. It's just an example. Okay, so when you think about it, when you remember the scene, you feel 9 in discomfort or 9 in annoyance. So that's your own definition, that's your own assessment. Take it as it is, and then you will go to the ego death meditation. In this, we're going to go into a specific mode in which we're going to talk to our inner God. To our inner self is the superior part of our own self. So it's God within, if you want to call it like that. And you are going to talk to this superior part of your own being, and you are going to ask this person, this force, this principle, whatever you want to call it, and you are going to talk in a very simple way, and you are going to retell the story. So you are going to say, When I was in the bus, I saw this person talking very loudly in the phone, and this caused me to feel very annoyed. So annoyed that it was like a 9 for me, and I don't want to have this negative emotion. Please help me eliminate this negative emotion, this negative feeling. And if there was pain in your body, you can use it. For example, help me to eliminate this negative emotion that causes pain in my body, that makes me feel sick, that makes me have this reaction. So you are going to tell your story to your own self, superior part of your own self. So you are going to ask, and you are going to ask whatever you want. You say, okay, I want to get rid of this pain, get rid of this feeling, get rid of this thought. Please take away the pain, take away the negative emotion, take away the negative feeling, the negative thoughts. You are going to be very specific, and you're going to say, take away the suffering from me. I don't want to suffer from this anymore. Whatever it is, your specific story, you're going to tell to yourself the story, and you are going to ask what you want. So you're going to ask for healing, cleaning, release, and then you are going to give yourself some time without thinking about it, and you are going to have some kind of anticipation. And you're going to try to, as much as possible, try to extend this moment. I don't know, a few minutes, whatever is possible for you. Just having some kind of expectation attitude. What are you expecting? You're expecting to be released from the source of your pain, the source of your discomfort. So it's like you're telling what you want. So you set the stage for what you are expecting, and then you will feel joy. You will feel love. You will feel the release from what you're having. This is something that you need to produce. But the fact that you're producing this is what actually creates the release. I cannot explain why it works. Maybe you can explain it in metaphysical terms, but this is what actually makes the solution. And this will actually release your negative emotion, your negative feelings. This will actually eliminate the source of your pain. You can even use your imagination, and you can imagine that this thing that is causing you pain is destroyed, and you can use any kind of image that you want to use for this. You can imagine, I don't know, like some fire is consuming this negative emotion, or like a beam of light is coming to you and is changing the color of your soul, whatever. This is your own self. But this imagination is very powerful because it will help somehow to make some abstract creation inside of your own psyche that will help to cement what are you trying to accomplish. This is really, really very, very effective, and this will change your life in dramatic ways. And then you go back again to the retrospection. So pick up again the scene that you chose, exactly the same that you work, the same that you ask to be released of, and you will run the scene again, the exact same scene, and then you will do again the self-assessment. So if when you started, you said, okay, this scene actually made me feel angry to the level of level 9, how angry do you feel again when you run the scene inside your head? It should be less than 9. So this will actually become the measure of your progress. And you can continue to do this several times. So for example, if it was 9, and after you did the ego death meditation, you turn it down to 0, then you're done. You can continue and work with something else. Or if it was 9 and then you turn it down to 5, you say, okay, I made some progress. You can do another round, or you can pick up something else and work again when the same situation comes again in your life, because unless you resolve it, it will repeat itself. So for sure you will see it again. Interestingly enough, some psychological traits or reactions or feelings, emotions are related to each other. So sometimes when you eliminate a specific ego, sometimes other egos will also disappear or will lower. So this is really, really very interesting. This work, psychological work, works really amazing. And the main thing of this is that will help you to remove errors, the source of errors in your life, the source of mistakes. So you will make less mistakes, you will have less errors, you will have more positive results, you will feel better about yourself, you have better results in life. You will actually improve your life because you're changing. You're changing really the nature of who you are, you're changing your psychology. And this is really, in a way, some kind of magic, but it's a magic that you're doing on your own self. So you can really, really change your life in this way and become more and more awake. This will have the ripple effect of changing your waking time awareness. So you will have ripple effects in every areas of your life, and it's really amazing, something that you can attest to this fact. But of course, it's work. It's called inner work, and you need to do this. It will not happen automatically. It's not like pressing a button. This will take some effort on your part. So, but this effort has revenue, a very good internal revenue. So the return on your investment will be huge, really. It is something amazing. It's the most, let's say, rewarding thing that you can do is the inner work. So that's all. Is really, basically, it's very simple. And I know I use a lot of words to do this, but actually, when you start doing it, it will feel very natural. And once you practice it several times, you will become, let's say, more adept at it. You will become more proficient, and you will do this more effectively and more efficiently, and you will have better and better results. So that's all I wanted to say. Is something really very good that you can do for yourself, and it's a way to set yourself free and have a much better life. Let me know if you have any comments or questions, and as always, I want to remind you about the opportunity to help me support my work as content creator. In the description section of each episode, I include information about different platforms you can use to support my work with donations if you want to. You can also share this episode in social media, and subscribe. I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you for watching.